This reflection is for Thursday, July 6th, the feast of the Transfiguration of the Lord. Based on Daniel chapter 7, verses 9 to 10, 13 and 14, and Psalm 97, and 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 16 to 19, and Matthew chapter 17, verses 1 to 9. Dear friends, today the church celebrates one of the most glorious moments in the life of Jesus, the Transfiguration. Before his suffering and death, Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up a high mountain where they witness his divine glory. His face shines like the sun. His clothes became dazzling white, and for a brief moment, heaven touches earth. Why did Jesus take only these three disciples up the mountain? The mountain in the Bible is always a place of prayer, encounter, revelation, and transformation. Moses received the 10 commandments on Mount Sinai. Elijah encountered God not in the wind or the earthquake, but in the gentle whisper on Mount Horeb. Jesus now leads his closest disciples to the mountain to strengthen their faith before they would witness his agony in the Garden of Gethsemane and his crucifixion on Calvary. He wanted them to know that beyond the suffering of the cross lies the glory of the resurrection. The Transfiguration reminds us that our own crosses are never the end of the story. God always leads his faithful people from suffering to glory. In today's gospel, we see Moses and Elijah appear beside Jesus Christ. This is deeply significant. Moses represents the law, while Elijah represents the prophets. Together, they symbolize the entire Old Testament. The presence proclaims that Christ is the fulfillment of everything God promised through the law and the prophets. Everything in salvation history points to Christ. He is not merely another prophet or a teacher. He is the promised Messiah, the Son of God, in whom God's plan reaches its fulfillment. The first reading from the book of Daniel beautifully prepares us for this revelation. Daniel sees the Ancient One seated upon his heavenly throne in majesty and glory. Then only, like a son of man, comes before him and receives everlasting dominion, glory, and kingship. This prophecy finds its fulfillment in Jesus Christ. On the mountain of Transfiguration, the disciples see the one whom Daniel saw in his vision, the eternal King whose kingdom will never pass away. Jesus is not simply a man blessed by God. He is the divine Son who possesses everlasting authority over heaven and earth. The responsorial psalm echoes this truth. The Lord is King, the Most High over all the earth. Mountains melt like wax before his presence. All creation proclaims his glory. The disciples experience this glory with their own eyes as Jesus Christ reveals his divine majesty. The God whom Israel worshipped is standing before them in the person of Jesus Christ. Peter's reaction is very human. Overwhelmed by the beauty of the moment, he says, "Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make three tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Peter wants to preserve the experience and avoid returning to the difficult journey ahead. But Peter also reveals another lesson for us. Standing before him are Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. Peter immediately thinks about what he wants to do. His attention is on his own plan, his own agenda. He does not first ask what Jesus desires. How often we do the same. We become so focused on our own ideas, our own comfort, and our own plans that we fail to see the needs of others around us. The Christian life is not about building comfortable shelters for ourselves. It is about coming down from the mountain to serve, love, forgive, and care for those who are suffering. Every day we meet people who need encouragement, compassion, understanding, and hope. The presence of Jesus should never make us self centered. It should make us more attentive to the needs of our brothers and sisters. True discipleship always moves us from self interest to self giving love. Then, while Peter is still speaking, a bright cloud overshadows them, and the voice of the Father is heard. This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. These words are the heart of today's feast. The Father does not say, listen to Moses or listen to Elijah. He says, listen to my Son. Jesus is God's final and complete revelation. When we are confused, discouraged, or uncertain about life's direction, the answer is always the same. Listen to Jesus. Listen through sacred scriptures, through prayers, through the teaching of the church, and through the quiet moment of the Holy Spirit within our hearts. In the second reading, St. Peter reflects on this extraordinary experience many years later. He writes, we did not follow cleverly devised myths. We had been eyewitness of his majesty. Peter never forget what he saw on that mountain. The memory of Christ's glory sustained him through persecutions, through suffering, and finally martyrdom. The light of the Transfiguration gave him the courage to remain faithful until the end. Dear friends, we all experience mountains and valleys in life. These are moments of joy and moments of sorrows, times of clarity and times of darkness. The feast of the Transfiguration reminds us never to lose hope. Christ's glory is greater than our suffering. His light is stronger than our darkness. His victory is greater than every cross we carry. Today, let's ask ourselves, am I truly listening to Jesus? Do I seek his will above my own plans? Do I notice the needs of those around me, or am I too focused on myself? May the light of the Transfiguration transform our hearts so that after encountering Christ, we may come down from the mountain ready to serve others with humility, compassion, and love. May we always remember the Father's words, this is my beloved Son, listen to him. If we listen to Christ and follow him faithfully, one day we too will share in his everlasting glory. Am I truly listening to Christ each day, allowing his voice to transform my heart so that I become less self centered, and more attentive to the needs of those around us? This is a question for meditation during this week. God bless you.